Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to look at wedges. We've had these in the shop now for a few months and we've been sort of waiting our time to do a kind of proper, extensive, deep review of them, and today's the day.
And we got multiple lofts now, which is good.
We
I think,
do.
when you picked all those out, I thought it was a good idea. Pitching wedge, kind of middle, sand wedge,
and then a
highest
wedge
lofted
option. Yep. So we've got the Cleveland CBX2.
Yep.
Really nice refinements from the original CBX. So it's got the hollow cavity design, obviously designed to sort of spread the mass to the outside of the golf club.
Right.
Get a little bit more face contribution across the face. I think that's a big thing that a lot of golfers don't realise that they actually need.
Yeah. On mishits.
Yeah, on mishits. When we look at our wedge after we've hit a shot, and very often there's a little bit of ball left bearding on the ball, or maybe there's grass or something, and it exposes where you struck it.
For example, in the toe.
Yeah.
For some of us.
So there's not a lot of people who are hitting every wedge shot dead centre. So it makes a lot of sense that you are going to get more contribution towards the heel and the toe.
Particularly when the rest of your set is more than likely a cavity of some kind.
Absolutely.
More than likely you aren't paying blades. So when you go, this is a different story obviously at 46, but if you're moving into your gap wedge and it's all of a sudden a blade and the rest of your set is a cavity and then you toe that a bit, and now you've lost 25 yards over your pitching wedge. It just makes a lot of sense to at least, even if you aren't going to go 60 degree with it, makes a lot of sense to do it in your pitching wedge and sand wedge.
Definitely. I think that's a really good point, Matty. Obviously, if the wedges work well for you, you can do a full line. But if you do want something a little bit different, maybe more subtle in terms of the grind or what have you in that 60, you don't have to.
No,
you don't have to go all the way through. Maybe you do it in the pitching wedge and the gap in the sand wedge, and then you do something else in the 60, or you can go all the way through. The one thing with these wedges, and I have seen a trend of this, is there's pretty much all the technology that's packed into a regular wedge, call it, into these. In the past, if you've seen a cavity back wedge, it's normally just an extension of an iron set.
So it's a little bit more of a less feature-rich kind of version of a good wedge.
Less specific to wedge needs. So I mean, this has laser milling, it has the Rotex milling, it has the milled grooves between the actual grooves. So it has everything that you're going to find in an RTX4.
So there's no trade-off now. Now they've done both.
Not in terms of that. Not in terms of that and the friction you're able to generate. The sole is a little bit more generous. Obviously to provide a little bit more forgiveness for maybe the less precise striker. They've made the head a little bit smaller this year versus
is that right?
CBX, the original. So you look at the head and you go, that's pretty palatable. It's
from address, totally.
No issue with that at all.
Nope.
Not kind of missed anything on the shaft component as well. Went dynamic gold 115 wedge flex in there, which is a nice addition. So it's not like, again, the shaft is an afterthought and just we'll stick anything in there. Shaft and wedges matter. Not for the reason, as we've talked about in other videos, that people think it matters.
Yeah, but it has an influence.
But it does have an influence. You don't want to overlook the value of having that weight and how the shaft feels when you're hitting those wedge shots.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's we'll start with the pitching wedge.
Let's hit a few of the pitching wedge, and I'd be curious to see how it holds up in regards to obviously distance and see what your spin control is like. Guys, looking not so much for how far it goes, but the ability to recreate the same distance.
Yeah, consistency.
The standard deviation of it. That's what we're always looking for. That's the reason you would choose these wedges over maybe a regular blade wedges, that you tend to fluctuate in your distance control a little bit. You miss hit one in that toe or the heel, and all of a sudden you drop off, you miss the green. You do not want to be missing the green with a wedge.
No.
So let's have a little hit with the pitching wedge to start with, Matty.
All right.
Lovely. I mean, there's a really good example straight out the gate, Matty. 140, that's about your number with pitching wedge.
Yep.
So you've caught that a little out the toe.
To say the least.
And you've hit your number really nicely. Good.
Good.
Does it in any way feel kind of jumpy or like you're?
It really feels like a normal.
Less than solid contact.
Feels like a normal kind of blade wedge, to be honest.
Really nice. Thoughts at address and behind the ball and stuff, it doesn't look too clunky or...
It really doesn't.
No.
Even the top line, I think they've done a nice job. They've kind of two-toned this.
Yeah, see that.
The scoring surface kind of ends and then the back is reflective, so you don't really notice the width of the top line.
Yep. Dude, that's 3 of the best pitching wedges I've ever seen you hit.
I know, I might buy one. A wedge. It's good.
Go in.
Ooh.
Good. Spinny, very spinny these.
Yeah, lots of
Tons of spin on them. You see that flight coming out really low and close there.
There.
That sounded like the best of the bunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Spin in the hole.
Woo! Oh, that had some. That was
13.
Yeah, almost 13.
Okay, we gotta get over. You gotta get over 13. That's crazy. I've never seen that.
That's wild.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, there it is.
13, 159.
So, officially, the high spin wedge we've ever tested.
For sure, yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
This is going to be good.
That's hilarious. Win. Oh!
Okay, nice little test.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that we haven't seen before testing wedges.
Some serious spin on these
Serious
babies.
spin.
Crazy spin.
Never seen that much spin, especially at the 60, to be over 13,000 consistently on the spin was really interesting.
One of the things I was concerned about was just the way they're designed. Would they be higher launching, lower spinning wedges because of whatever, because they're hollow or whatever the reason? And didn't seem to be the case at all. Like my launch angles were pretty much what I get with my Vokies.
Yeah.
And the spin rates were as good, or to be honest, a little bit more.
Well, from a construction standpoint, just kind of thinking about that for a second, if they're hollowing out where the sort of the meat of the wedge would normally be, what that's actually doing is it's lowering the CG.
Right.
So you're bringing that down to the bottom, of the club. So there's going to be that element to this as well. So
which makes sense.
Yeah. So we're going to get definitely more ball speed. And the interesting thing was, look at the standard deviation. We were just laughing at that
joke,
on the pitching wedge. It was literally the exact same on all the shots that we tested. And even on the 54 and the 60, it was still really, really consistent.
Yeah.
So from what we would be looking for in terms of protection, it was absolutely there. We had a little bit of a kind of low toe strike going on.
Yeah, which didn't seem to matter.
Didn't seem to cause you any concerns. You were able to hit them certainly on line and have good gapping and get all the performance you need with it. The one thing I would be a little bit more curious to do with this one, or these, would be to do a little bit more short shots with them.
That's a good
some
point.
Pitching. I'd be curious how that so worked for you if there was the same kind of level of consistency on the pitching. So maybe we'll dive back in and we'll do a little bit more testing on that. But certainly in relation to preserving ball speed and generating spin and the right launch conditions, it's right there.
Yeah, I think there's no trade-off whatsoever in the pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge.
Yeah.
I think the 60 you may find isn't probably 100% what you'd want from a shape standpoint. It's a little bigger.
Yeah.
And maybe it won't give you the versatility around the green that you want. But again, I don't see any reason why you couldn't just use a blade wedge in the 60.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't take full swings with a 60.
And sometimes the eye of the consumer, of the individual, is going to see what they, going to see different things. So the 60 might be an intimidating club to them.
Some,
it might be something where they go, that doesn't look like there's much surface there for me to hit. And having that, you don't think that certainly, but the higher handicapper may look like they have a bit more down there.
Yep, no, it's a good point.
So, and when I'm looking at the three soles, it is interesting. You do have a more versatile grind on the back of the 60.
Looks kind of M grindy, doesn't it?
Yeah, little M grind, and then you've got a little heel grind in there, and then on the pitching wedge, you've got more of just a standard V sole.
Huh.
Really
Smart.
good, eh?
They've done. I think if anyone's on the fence as to whether these would be a good idea, I would say don't hesitate to try them.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, I could play that in a gap wedge and a sand wedge and probably wouldn't notice too much of a difference.
No, you would not. You absolutely would not.
Good distance control.
Yeah. So I think for people who are looking for that forgiveness with their wedges, but still retaining all the performance that you admire about especially the low handicappers you play with, these are the wedges for that type of player.
100%.
This is exactly who this is aimed at, and they will not let you down for performance, that's for sure.
Good to see now there's pin glides that are really good for giving wedge.
Really good,
You have another option with Cleveland. It's good to see more companies kind of at least expanding into this space.
It's smart. I think the performance retention with wedges is really smart, and not just pigeoning people into a one-dimensional choice with regards to a blade versus a set wedge.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be A or B. There should be multiple options in there.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Okay, good stuff. Well, guys, let us know if you've tried these, if maybe you had the first CBX line and this has caught your eye. I don't think we're going to find anyone who's disappointed with these. We certainly weren't, that's for sure.
Okay.
All right, stay tuned for more. See you again soon.